The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johns.
Hello and thanks for joining us for Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johns. On today's show, we'll travel along with a group of farmers as they head to Washington to meet with members of Congress.
If you care about the future of your country, the future of your state, certainly the future of your children, it's important to be engaged and be a part of the solution.
We'll stop in at a South Alabama shop in the business of soothing the savage sweet tooth.
I think of that thin layer and all that icing is something different, and it's fun.
Sidney Phelps of Bonnie Plants will join us here in studio once again to answer questions submitted by our viewers about growing vegetables and herbs.
If you followed the show on Facebook, you know we recently held a contest for Bama's Best Breakfast. And today's the day you get to find out more about the winning restaurant as we visit Staggs Grocery in Florence. That's up first after this break.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith. Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Social media is great for many things. Without Facebook, we might not have known about Staggs Grocery in Florence, the winner of our Bama's Best Breakfast contest. But one thing we discovered during our trip to eat at Staggs: while social media may be great, nothing replaces the neighborhood feeling of enjoying a warm, home-cooked meal while really socializing with friends, both old and new. Long before the sun rises, the cooks and waitresses at Staggs Grocery are busy fixing up down-home Southern favorites and serving breakfast to customers who make it a point to stop in and sit a spell.
We're here every day. Some of them come maybe 3 days a week, but most of them are here every day.
Perfecting the traditional breakfast standbys of eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits, and gravy has earned Staggs a special place in the hearts of Alabama's Florentines. And the loyalty of the locals showed when Staggs was nominated in our Bama's Best Breakfast contest.
I was excited, and I just wasn't really worried about it. I knew the customers would take care of us.
Over the course of the contest, Staggs racked up over 3,000 votes to claim the title of Bama's Best Breakfast. As winners, Staggs Grocery received a plaque and $300 from contest sponsors, the Alabama Wheat and Feed Grain Producers, which includes Lauderdale County farmer James Walker.
Everybody that is from this area knows Staggs Grocery and knows that if you want a good breakfast or a good lunch, you come to Staggs. My go-to meal here is a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich with mayonnaise, salt and pepper, and a slice of tomato on it.
James isn't the only customer who has a Staggs standby.
The breakfast special on Fridays is chocolate gravy here at Staggs, and my youngest son and I, this is kind of our thing on Friday mornings. He's a fan of the chocolate gravy, and I am too, and so it's just a special treat, a special time to come in and enjoy the atmosphere.
Staggs chocolate gravy was mentioned by numerous customers during the contest, so I had to give this regional specialty a try. On the surface, it might seem like chocolate and gravy shouldn't go together, but let me tell you, they've perfected this yummy breakfast treat at Staggs.
We only have it one day a week on Fridays, and we have a lot of people come just for chocolate gravy on Fridays. Chocolate gravy and bacon.
Of course, those biscuits and gravy, whether chocolate or traditional, wouldn't be possible without Alabama farmers.
You got flour to make the gravy, you got flour to make the biscuits. Very, very important. People don't realize in their daily lives how much agriculture does affect them just by having good nutrition. And in the United States, we're very blessed that our farmers are as efficient as they are and produce what all we can produce.
Staggs Grocery has occupied the same building in the historic Sweetwater Mills area of East Florence since the 1930s. Current revitalization efforts and construction might make it tough to find a parking spot, and limited seating means you might be bumping elbows with a stranger. But when you spend a little time at Staggs, you learn that's all part of the charm that's kept the business going for over 80 years.
And a lot of people tell us, that's why they love coming here. They get to sit and hear stories and see people they've never met.
We all like to grow, and we like industry and business and population, which are all really good things for the economy. But it's also nice to come to a place where you can kind of slow down a little bit and maybe take a step back in time. It's just the counter service where you walk up and order, and then the ladies bring the food to you, but you're on the honor system to go tell them what you had and pay before you leave, and it's a true gathering place.
You can meet your friends here, and then when other people come in that you can break off and invite them to your table if you have room. But yeah, it's a community. Everybody loves to go to Staggs.
You see the food being prepared, and it's just a place that people get together and congregate and socialize like old times. That we get so caught up in our technology this day and time that we don't realize how important it is to have social interaction, and Staggs is a good place for people to have social interaction with one another.
We hosted the contest for Bama's Best Breakfast on our Facebook page as a bracket-style tournament.
And the runner-up for the contest was also from Florence, Big Bad Breakfast.
That's right, and the others in the top 8 were Ray's in Dothan, Taters in Laverne, Chris Z's in Birmingham, Biscuit King Cafe in Fairhope, Walter's Gas and Grill in Opelika, and the Waysider in Tuscaloosa.
Wow, Mary, I'm amazed you can remember all those.
It's a steel trap up here, Jim.
Yeah. Speaking of great food, when Simply Southern continues, your waistline will probably hate us after we introduce you to this Andalusia institution.
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
You could see it before anyone else. Your future, your own place, independence. It's not perfect, but you love it. A place to grow, to be yourself.
All for a better life.
Dream big. Alpha Insurance.
All for a better life.
Protect your dream with Alpha's new business owner policies.
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
In certain circles, the name Dean's Cake House can send a perfectly level-headed character into a mouth-watering scramble for a plate and a glass of milk. After dropping in on this charming small-town bakery myself, well, hang on to your salads, folks, because your diet's officially doomed.
It's almost frightening how rapidly I can completely lose my grip on reasonable, civilized behavior when faced with 7 intimidating layers of golden, fluffy cake with rich, creamy, chocolatey icing.
Cake.
This is nothing new to Dean Jacobs. For a quarter of a century, her South Alabama bakery has transformed countless visitors like myself into drooling cake fiends.
Well, Jim, if I told you I was going to go home and eat most of this cake myself, wouldn't you consider it good?
Andalusia's best-known sweet shop is a local favorite for birthdays, holidays, or just spoiling yourself days. But the idea for these beloved cakes wasn't cooked up in a bakery, but rather a grocery store deli.
I was working up front, cashier, and my boss asked me if I would go to the deli, let's start a deli. And I bet if I had said over the years, if there's one thing I'll not ever do is work in a deli. And then that's what started the cakes. One of my employees went to Pensacola, and she had seen the cakes, had sock it to me, that's all they had. And she said, why don't we make them? And I said, well, why not? So we started with that, and then from that one went till we end up, now we have about 13 varieties.
If you got a taste for chocolate, regular and German, or something a little more fancy like coconut or Italian cream, there's a Dean's cake to suit just about any taste. While you'll find plenty of the familiar 2-layer varieties, it's her jaw-dropping 7-layer cakes that Miss Dean has built her reputation on.
That's what fit under the dome. I just kept adding on there to it till I got what would fit the dome, and I quit. I think that thin layer and all that icing is something different, and it's fun.
Behind every delicious Dean's cake is a staff that cracks the eggs, mixes the batter, mans the ovens, and paints on the icing, all with the precision of a symphony orchestra. When this kitchen gets hopping, it's amazing how many cakes these folks can turn out in a single day.
Anywhere from 4 to 450 to 500, according to how everybody's working. And when they know they have to, when we have a big order going out, they can pick it up and do it.
It's a lot of long, hot days in the kitchen for Miss Dean and her staff. But every time another excited customer walks through their doors, the smiles are worth the effort.
She's just done wonders with this amazing cake house she has. And we're just pleased as punch to have her in town. She's just a wonderful woman.
They'll come and they say, we're back. You know, that makes me good. I said, that's my favorite word. Hear somebody say, I'm back. I had one this morning that called this morning and just wanted to tell me that she had found one somewhere else and how good there was, and how much she appreciated it. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of our employees. I'm proud of the fact that people enjoy coming and that know it's here. That's the main thing. So they know it's here and keep coming time after time.
For a list of stores carrying Miss Dean's cakes, head over to deanscakehouse.com. Of course, if you're in the Andalusia area, you can't beat a visit to the shop itself. But bring the pickup, folks, cause it's hard to leave with just one. Up next on Simply Southern, it's country come to town as farmers from across Alabama descend on our nation's capital to talk about issues important to agriculture.
One out of 4 Alabama residents have benefited from the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. Last year, Master Gardener Managed Gardens donated $150,000 worth of fruits and vegetables to food banks, and over 25,000 young people developed math, science, technology, and engineering skills through 4-H. Now what we want to know is, how can we help you?
The versatile peanut. Meat of the earth. Friend of the soil. Tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things. Families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
And
now, an Alabama tourism spotlight from Sweet Home, Alabama. If you're ever near Tuscumbia in Colbert County, you really should stop by the Rattlesnake Saloon for a unique dining experience. Located in a cave that was once home to Native Americans, the natural beauty will captivate you as you arrive in a saloon taxi pickup truck. As long as you're there, stay a while in the Seven Springs Lodge along with horse riders, hikers, and other outdoor adventurers. The popularity of the Rattlesnake Saloon has spread across all 50 states and 30 countries, according to the guest book. The Saloon restaurant is open Thursday through Saturday from February to November, and also Sundays from April to September. For your next adventure, go online to alabama.travel.
We've been raising fish for 33 years. Our farm and the catfish farms in Hale County in this area have had a huge impact on the labor, offering jobs. It's been a big economic boom for West Alabama. Our family is fully invested in U.S. farm-raised catfish.
Disaster relief, the Farm Bill, and trade were among the topics on the minds of nearly 150 farmers from across Alabama as they traveled to Washington.
The group met with Alabama's congressional delegation, congressional members from other states, and the Trump administration about a variety of issues that affect agriculture. Kevin Worthington traveled with the group and has this report from Washington, D.C.
In spite of daily news reports about the political divisions in our nation's capital, Alabama farmers are reaching out to members of both parties for help on a number of issues that affect them directly.
Especially at a time now when our government is sort of divided. It's good to know that we've got friends on both sides of the aisle. We've got critical issues facing agriculture in Alabama and all across this country. Trade, taxes, regulations of various kinds are things that affect us every day. And we just need to make sure that those folks understand how all of those things impact us on the farm in Fairview, Alabama, and across this country.
With recent disasters like the Lee County tornadoes and Hurricane Michael fresh on their minds, members of Congress say they're working to provide relief for people affected all across the Southeast.
We know how important getting disaster relief to the farmers in Georgia and Alabama, North Florida is. Hurricane Michael was a devastating event, and we understand that it has a real impact, not just on the national economy, but on families and family farms and the lives and really the health of the rural communities. Making sure that we stay committed to getting the relief that we know that our family farmers in those areas need is something that we're fighting for every single day.
Ferguson says he's met with President Trump about the importance of American agriculture and how the success of the American farmer is directly tied to the strength of the American economy.
He knows that what our farmers need are access to better markets. We got to keep fighting to make sure that they can operate in the most efficient way possible. What he wants to see is he wants to see American agriculture lead the world. And the way that we do that is continue to grow our economy here at home, make sure our trade agreements are good, most importantly, make sure that the American farmer has access to markets that they currently don't.
We had a very special opportunity this week to meet with Ambassador Greg Dowd with the United States Trade Representative's Office. One of the things we talked a lot about is the urgency of passing the USMCA, or the new U.S.-Canada-Mexico trade agreement, and really the urgency to get that passed so that we can continue to have those two trading partners at the table for our American products. Exports are so important to the agricultural community.
In addition to policy discussions, Alabama farmers were on hand when the state's senior senator received the highest award presented by the American Farm Bureau Federation for his years of service to agriculture.
It's good to see all of you come from all over the state. You come up here every year. And I've tried to meet with you even when I was in the U.S. House of Representatives, because what you do is important. Agriculture is important. It feeds us. It feeds a lot of the world, and it's a big part of our economy in Alabama. We shouldn't ever forget that.
While awards and policy discussions are important, Farmers say the real value of this conference is shaking hands and sharing meals, because progress is made by developing and maintaining good relationships.
There's different versions of this saying, but the world belongs to those folks that show up, and that's what we're doing this week in Washington. We're showing up and we're being heard and thanking our friends and hopefully making some new friends while we're here as well.
I think the biggest thing, to take away is the importance of being engaged with the processes here in Washington, and even at the local level in Montgomery or within your county or your city. Decisions are being made every day that affect you, your family, your line of work. Farming is no different. If you care about the future of your country, the future of your state, certainly the future of your children, it's important to be engaged and know what's going on and be a part of it. Be a part of the solution.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington in Washington.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
What we eat, what we wear. It all starts somewhere. And if it's good, it usually starts with a farmer. And that somewhere is right here in Alabama. In a field, in a barn, on a tractor. Right now, there's a farmer starting something good for all of us. And it all starts right here in Alabama.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed, because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Welcome back to Simply Southern. Today we have Sidney Phelps in the studio with us to answer some questions about gardening that were submitted by our viewers. So Sidney, thanks for being here.
Good to be in the studio. How you doing, Sid? Good. Got a question from Linda Gatewood. I live on the Gulf Coast in Foley, and the weather is extremely hot and humid. I can get basil, thyme, chives, and parsley to do fine, but my dill never makes it. Please help save my crop from certain death.
Well, it sounds like Linda's had some difficulty with dill. One thing that I would say, it all depends on how she has it planted. If she has it planted with those other herbs that you listed, that could be the majority of her problem. When you start mixing combinations of herbs together like that, you can certainly run into issues where they don't all like the same thing. Dill is one of those plants that is kind of finicky. It's very similar to lavender in some instances where it likes to be dry, but you can actually physically see the plant when it starts to wilt. So you really have to pay attention to that. So what I would suggest is plant it in a container by itself. Make sure the container is well drained, mix it in with rocks, make sure you have good soil, fertilize it every 7 to 10 days, and use that, and just kind of, when you're getting ready to check the soil, make sure that you don't just look at the top, that you're feeling to make sure, because most of the time whenever you see things that are unsuccessful like this or dying out, it could be because of root rot from beneath and something that you can't see. So that would be the best suggestion to get started out with that. And if she's bringing it indoors, make sure it's in a window that's southward facing, at least getting 6 to 8 hours of light.
All right. Well, we have another question this time from Linda Lawler, also about an herb. She says she's tried to grow sage in a large pot for several years now. She brought it in this past fall and it looked good, but then it died. She has an outside dog and doesn't want the dog, watering the plant, which we can all understand. And this is her 3rd year that she's tried that, had it in the garage for 2 of those years.
Okay, what I would say on that, she changed out of the garage. The garage is really kind of the first red flag that I'm hearing out of this. If she has well-lit garage, well lit helps, but you really have to have southward facing sunlight. That's the biggest thing when you start bringing plants in. That's the only way that they're going to get vibrant in those conditions indoors. Sage is a great plant. Sage lasts for a while, and it's successful for her outside. She's not seeing any issues until she brings it in. I would say that humidity, temperature, whatever she's got the room set at, but most of the time if it's dying out like that, especially when you bring things indoors, you have to adjust your watering schedule because it's not drying out as fast, or it could be drying out faster if you have it really hot during the winter time. So air temperature, humidity, all that's going to be a big part of dealing with it indoors. So you really want to watch that. That would be my recommendation for that, but just make sure she's checking how much water she's adding to it, feel the soil again, and if it is indoors, make sure she's getting it to a lot of sunlight.
Sid, we've got one here from Christine Newbold. With the warm winter, my fruit-bearing plants, blueberries, plums, peaches, are budding. Should I fertilize and treat them as if it were spring? I've still had late winter things to do.
Okay, anytime you're dealing with those kind of plants, you only want to fertilize them in spring, especially with nitrogen and all that. It's only going to diffuse out into the plant with the heat. Most of your fertilizers are temperature controlled. They release at a certain temperature. Some are water soluble that will release with water, but blueberries don't like a lot of fertilizer anyway. They have some specialized fertilizers that work well with azaleas and things like that are going to be more on the sulfur end of things, more potassium or potash. So that would be what you want to watch after with that. So only fertilize that when it actually gets into that springtime.
Sydney, thank you so much for all the great information. Now, BonniePlants.com has a lot more information to help make your garden successful. If you'd like to ask Sydney a question about growing your own vegetables and herbs, just drop him a line at simplysouthern@alafarm.com. And if he answers your question on the air, we'll send you a nice gift.
Thanks for watching Simply Southern this week, but it's time for us to go. Join us again next time when we'll dedicate our entire show to American heroes.
That's right. We'll feature stories about veterans of the armed services from previous seasons of Simply Southern. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. We'll see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.